Good evening, good morning, and good night, wherever you all are. Thank you for joining us. This is Judge with the Cosmic Answer LLC. On Wednesday, we're going to be talking about, as the description says, the second house and its Lord. And as always, accompanying me is my lovely bride, Gigi Jackson. She's going to be working behind the scenes, also joining us and handling everything that you have questions or things you need to discuss. All right. Hi. So, everybody, thank you for tuning in. And if you haven't made it with us yet, this is going to be on our YouTube channel, The Cosmic Answer LLC. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to that. You can also follow us on Facebook at Judge Jackson or Gigi Jackson or The Cosmic Answer LLC, as well as on Instagram under AK Saturn 80. And babe, what's yours on Instagram?
It's The Cosmic Answer.
The Cosmic Answer LLC. All right. So without further ado, how's everyone doing? And how are you all enjoying this Shani retrograde? Yeah, it's going to be a good one. It is. Right now, Saturn is retrograding in Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra. And in case all of you don't know, that is a very occultic asterism within the lunar mansions. And what you are going to experience, if you haven't already saw on my posts, is that Baphomet energy, or the one-footed goat, is going to expose a lot of things that should have dualism attached to it. All this toxic masculinity, femininity. I don't need to go on a tangent because that's not tonight's topic. We're going to stick to some basics this evening. We're talking about the second house and its Lord. The second house and its Lord. Because last week we covered the ascendant. So we're going to be going in that chronological order. So everyone, what is the second house? If you have your Vedic chart, we're not doing Western. I need you to have your North Vedic charts handy. And if you're looking at it, and you got to go counterclockwise, in the northwest corner of your Vedic natal chart, that is your second house, all right? The second house is at around 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. So it's before the sunrise. And that's where the second house is located. And what does the second house means? We've already covered that the ascendant is your overall body, health, and personality. But the second house is what happens after you're born. The second house is everything about the first family you're born into. So when you're examining your own chart, you have to look at it as it's the consequence of your karmas. The moment you look at your natal chart, village, you have to notice this is everything that built up to this point in your many lifetimes concerning you in this one. It's your guide, it's your roadmap, it's your karmic Akashic records, and your report card. So let's just say you're looking at your natal chart and we're examining the second house. Look at its sign, look at its range, its Lord, and if there are any planets there or any planets aspecting your second house. And these are the things to look for regarding the second house. Thank you. These are the things to look for. If you want to know about your possessions, the things you own, your values, your family members, extended or immediate, your diet, your teeth, your voice, your speech, the second house will tell you. This is what you need to know. All those things, if you want to know how you earn money, How you're going to make money? Look to the second house. What type of voice will I have? What type of audience will I be speaking to? Your second house. What type of family members do I have? Second house. This is what you look to in your natal chart, because all 12 houses has its own meaning. And did you also know the second house also denotes the mindset or the mind of your mother-in-law? The second house is about the mind of your mother-in-law.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because if you look at your natal chart, the mind of anyone is the placement fifth from it. It's the placement fifth from it. So what is fifth? So what sign has the second house as its fifth? What sign would that be? You have to look at the natal chart and count 5 places from it. Hey, Unique, good evening. Good evening to you. All right, so we also know the sign that's fifth as the second house, you look at the 10th house. So count inclusively 10, 11, 12, 1, and 2. Your 10th house is your mother-in-law. So anything fifth from it is the mind of that person. So when you look at the second house, we know everything about the thinking process of your mother-in-law. All right. So yeah, you also look at the second house. What does it mean for your grandparents? It is your paternal grandparents' siblings. Your paternal grandparents' siblings. So your great uncles and aunts. This is also the second house. Because you counted 3 places from the 12th house. 12th house is mainly grandparents. So these are the siblings of your grandparents. All right. What else we have? What is the second house pertaining to your mother? All right. How does the second house relates to the 4th house? It's 11th from it. So the second house is the fulfillment of your mother or the elder siblings of your mother, meaning your maternal uncles and aunts. And again, second house is family. That makes sense, right? So there you have it. It is also the career of your children. Second house is the career of your children because it's 10th. Second house is 10th from the 5th house. You see how this works, everyone? So the second house is not just about your personal family and values. It's about everybody that encompasses that are involved in you. Unique says Taurus, and Taurus is exalted in the moon, which rules the 4th house.
Correct.
So, Unique, what does it mean to have an exalted moon in Taurus? And the moon rules her 4th house.
That's the second house code?
Yeah, I believe that's what she's trying to convey, that moon is exalted in her second house of Taurus.
Oh, nice. Is that what you're saying, Monique? Is it unique?
Unique. So it's something very significant about her mother or maternal aunt.
Oh, okay. Okay.
She probably has a successful big sister. Her mom does.
Okay.
And her mom, yeah, she says my 4th house is Rohini. No, her 4th house is Taurus.
Okay.
She's an Aquarius ascendant.
Oh,
that's what it means. And her moon is in the 4th house exalted.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking she was talking about the second house.
Right. I thought that too. Sorry.
Yeah, Unique, we'll be talking about the 4th house in a couple more weeks, but that's interesting. We're blessed to have moon in Taurus.
Yeah, so she was answering our question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when you think about the second house, you also have to locate its Lord. Wherever the Lord is, what that's going to mean, a lot of the source of everything pertaining to the second house is going to get it from wherever its Lord is located. Now, here's one thing I wanted to touch on.
Okay, she said
her second house is ruled by Taurus.
Okay, gotcha. That's unique.
All right. You ever wonder why certain people have a certain cadence or verbiage or vocal level to how they speak?
Because it's based in the second house. Right?
Yes. But what is the purpose of why you speak that way? What is the purpose of the second house, Village?
Okay.
Again, what is 10th from the second? What is the purpose of the 10th house? Again, 10th from the second house is, what is it? What is it? Is it the 11th house? No. I believe it's the 9th house. Let's see. Ascendant is 12th from it. 12th is 11th from it. And 11th is 10th from. So the 11th house is the purpose of your second house. It's the purpose. So think of it this way. If any of you have an older brother or an older sister, they're your precursor. And the family looks up to the elder sibling first before you. So remember, the fulfillment of the second house is the 11th house, which is the big brother, the big sister, or your friendship network, or how you relate to the world, because this is what the family wants to prepare you for. That is the purpose of the second house. So you have to examine all of these placements pertaining to the second. And unique is right. It rules your face, which includes your speech. So again, talking about speech, we have to know why you speak a certain way. So, babe, can you share everybody your second house lord?
My second house lord is Jupiter.
Okay. Gigi's second house lord is Jupiter. So that means she's either an Aquarius ascendant or a Scorpio ascendant, because Jupiter rules the second house of both of those heavily karmic ascendants. All right. So with an Aquarius, that means Pisces is your second house. With a Scorpio, Sagittarius is your second house. So for a Scorpio or an Aquarius ascendant, why do you think Jupiter is ruling the house of speech? Let's examine it. Jupiter is a philosopher, a grand guru, someone who teaches and spreads vast high knowledge. Because an Aquarius is a humanitarian. They know a lot. Now, Scorpio is a deep researcher. They know a lot. That's why Jupiter is the second house. So whatever they speak, they're going to be grand, boisterous, loud, and projecting. I've never met a timid Scorpio or Aquarius in my life. They have a voice to speak to the masses. So wherever your second house lord is, things relating to that graha, that's the type of voice you're going to have. That's the type of voice you're going to have. So let's just say we have an Aquarius ascendant. Their second house lord is Jupiter.
Unique is like
And your second house lord, they pick a random house.
Fifth.
Okay, second house lord in the fifth. And Jupiter is your second house lord. So that means for an Aquarius ascendant, Jupiter is in the inimical sign of Gemini, right? And Jupiter in a Scorpio ascendant chart is still at home in the fifth house of Pisces. That means your voice is going to be things related to fun activities. For example, a fictional character like Ronald McDonald would have a second lord in the fifth house because his voice teaches to children. That's what it means. Now, for an Aquarius ascendant, Jupiter falls in Gemini. So this person is going to be a community activist. Why? Because Gemini is naturally the third graha as it relates to local communities. And again, Jupiter is all about spreading a message, like a prophet or a politician. That's going to be their message. Because again, in Aquarius is a humanitarian. There's a reason why Jupiter is the second house lord. And as we're using that as an example of the second lord in the fifth house, it relates to fun activities, children, things that you're interested in. And you're going to always talk about sports, personal interests, and hobbies. That's how it works. But you're going to always be in a position to talk at people instead of with people because that's Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with a Scorpio ascendant. Jupiter is going in Pisces. And with it being in Pisces, you're going to talk about things still related to fun activities and children. However, it's going to be deep. You're going to love talking about spirituality, relaxation, tranquility. And because it's the house of fun and is related to Pisces, a Scorpio ascendant loves to go out to things at night like clubs, trysts, romantic getaways, because it's the house of romance.
Right.
So Scorpio would love to indulge in those things. But when they're speaking, they may talk over you because the fifth lord is also in the fifth house. And you're going to always talk about your children because Jupiter is expansive. So that's an example of how your speech works. Now, let's just say your second house lord is in the ninth house. That means whatever you talk about, you are going to be professorial because the ninth house is about higher knowledge. If your second house lord is at the ninth house, I guarantee you, if you go out to a restaurant like Cheddar's on a Mother's Day and they're very religious, who do you think they're going to ask to say grace? We're talking about second lord in the ninth house. They're going to ask you to say grace.
If you're Scorpio.
No, anybody.
Oh, okay. Anybody.
So the second house lord in the ninth house. So Unique says, I have Pisces as my second lord, but no planets. So Unique, here's what it means. Are there any planets aspecting your second house? Are there any planets aspecting your second house? That also matters. Anything opposite, trine, quincunx, anything. Here's what it means if a planet is aspecting your second house. Those energies are going to affect it.
Okay.
Let's just say Mars has its square aspect to your second house. So that means Mars is in the 11th or is probably in the 4th. Mars is in the 11th or the 4th. Sun influencing you. Or your friends are going to always be involved with your family. Or they're going to influence the way you speak. That's what this means. When a planet is aspecting your second house. Let's just say Saturn is opposite to your second house. There's going to be other people from other families that's going to have an influence on you that are elderly. If Saturn is in your 8th house, opposing your second, there's somebody of an elder that's going to influence you and your family. That's what it means. So if you have no planets there yet aspecting, this also affects your second house. Mm-hmm. So let's just talk about the signs that are in your second house.
This is fun.
All right, we're going to start with Aries. If Aries is your second house,
let me type that in.
Mm-hmm.
Second house, Aries.
Yeah.
Like that?
Yes. If Aries is your second house, that makes you a Pisces ascendant. What is it about a Pisces, the reason why Aries would be your second house lord? Because what is Aries about? Initiation, fire, starting something, being a leader, heart, very heady, right? Mm-hmm. But Pisces are very lackadaisical. Y'all cool, even-keeled, lazy. Come on now. So somebody in your family, they're going to really push you to be out there. And again, Mars rules your second house, Pisces ascendants. Mars rules your second house. So that means you can be very mouthy or you catch an attitude quick because Pisceans are the most emotional, even more emotional than Cancer. They're very emotional because they're the final water sign. And it's a dual sign. Pisceans can be very unpredictable. So when in their value system, they know what to do right off the top of their head. Because emotional people can easily garner that passion, that fire. And it's a Gandanta point. The last 3 degrees of Pisces to the first 3 degrees of Aries. That's a Gandanta point. So Pisces ascendant people are very transformative with their speech. And wherever Mars is, you're going to have an attitude and an aggressive speech to you. And there's a brother in your family that you always have to vie with. And vie means to compete. Because the third house of a Pisces ascendant is Taurus. So there's somebody very stubborn, or you have a brother that you was always in competition with. That's why Aries would be the second house for Pisces ascendant. Now let's go to Taurus. If Taurus is your second house, that means you're an Aries ascendant. So in an Aries ascendant's chart, their value system is very solid. It's solid and conservative of sorts. And Venus is your second house lord. So that means you have an influential speech to where you can be very charming, especially if you're a female Aries ascendant. Wherever your Venus is, you're going to click that mellifluous tone to your advantage. Because in Aries is that Aries ascendant with that Taurus wants to conserve and feel secured about something. So wherever your Venus is located in your chart, you're going to want security there. All right. So let's just say your second house lord, Venus, is in the 8th house. You're going to be dealing with cybersecurity, dangerous situations that you're going to try to feel safe in. That automatically means your Venus is in Scorpio. So you're going to be frightened, but you're going to know how to get your way out of it. So in like the last 20 minutes of this video, we're going to open up and have everybody to express their second house lords and placements and everything. Mm-hmm. So, and we could go around the spectrum. Like if your second house is Gemini, there's a lot of people in your family that likes to talk a lot. Mm-hmm. They like to invite other families over. Mm-hmm. And again, this is for a Taurus ascendant. Taurans, they're very sturdy and secure, but their family is very outgoing. There's probably some twins in the family. Mercury is your second house lord of speech. So Taurans like to speak about things that they could be involved with money because Mercury is the merchant. Mm-hmm. Taurans are all about money. So wherever your second house lord Mercury is located, you're going to definitely communicate to how to breaking bread. Let's say your second house is Cancer. You're a Gemini ascendant. You're going to speak with your feelings and your emotions because Geminis love to talk. Mm-hmm. So second house is Cancer. Geminis got a big mouth on them because there's a lot of people in their family that were very doting. Geminis get into a lot of trouble. I've never met a single Gemini record that doesn't have a jail sentence attached to their record. But they know their family's always going to bail them out because their second house is Cancer. And Geminis have pretty teeth. They have pretty teeth because it's ruled by Cancer. Mm-hmm. Very white. So if your second house lord is in the 9th house or the 10th house, you're going to pursue higher education pertaining to things related to that Cancer, such as the dairy industry, mm-hmm. dental, therapy, all things pertaining to soft careers, because Gemini loves to communicate. All right. Okay. Let's say your second house is Leo. This is for Cancer ascendants. Your second house is Leo, and its lord is the sun. A Cancer ascendant has to speak with leadership because they're nurturers. They really have to know what they're talking about. And wherever that sun is, you're going to always have the authority. There's somebody in your family that raised you a certain way, man or woman, of grand stance, because son denotes father. A lot of Cancer ascendants had a strong father, absentee or involved father, but his presence was well known as the sun is his ruler. So wherever that sun is located, that's the type of influence that you have with your speech. And that's what you learn from somebody with authority in your family. Because my youngest daughter is a Cancer ascendant, and her second house lord is in the sixth. So that means she's going to be involved in the service sector of Scorpio, of Sagittarius. Meaning she's going to be speaking to a lot of people that loves to argue and debate. So what she learned from her father is to speak with authority and confidence to deal with that type of attitudes at work. And Cancer ascendants, they know what to do. Believe me, they do, with the sun as their second house lord. Now, Virgo as your second house is for Leo ascendants. You're going to have to understand this. There are people in your family that knows about organization, routines, and structure, because Leo ascendants are very playful people. So they have a family that balances them out with that structure. Because anything related to the second house is the advancement of the house that precedes it. So your family's letting you know, Leo ascendant, you need to improve on routines and doing boring tasks at times. Because again, Mercury is your second house lord. It comes from a place of exaltation. So that means whoever a Leo speaks to, they're going to always talk about the type of perfect family that they have.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Libra is your second house lord. This is for the Virgo ascendants. Again, the second house is the advancement or the improvement of the ascendant. So whatever that perfectionist, fun policing Virgo ascendant has done, they're going to come from a family that see both sides, that are less judgmental, that find balance and harmony. And that gets on a Virgo ascendant's nerves because they come from a family that doesn't see guilt in any other side. You're Virgo ascendant, you're going to be sitting there criticizing things. And somebody next to your family, I don't think that person's that bad. I don't. And that is so annoying. With Venus as your second house lord, Virgo ascendants, you're going to come with a different type of philosophy. Because Venus is the guru of the Asuras. And Virgos like majoring in the minors. They're going to talk about things that no one else likes to talk about. Mm-hmm. But your value system, you try to be fair as much as you can because that's how you were raised. Now, with Scorpio as your second house lord, this is Libra ascendants. Now, with Libra ascendant people, with Scorpio being its advancement, they're tired of you seeing both sides. No, you got to get jealous. You come from a family of a lot of jealous people. Whatever they're watching, they're just being haters, just hating on everybody. And they let you know it's okay to vent your frustrations, Libra ascendants. That's why Scorpio is your second house. Get jealous. Get jealous every now and then. That's why Mars rules your second house. Wherever that Mars is, find out what ticks you off.
Libras love to be sweet and nice, but this is your opportunity to get a little rough.
But there's somebody in your family that said, girl, you too GQ. I mean, stop. Something has to make you mad. I know you hate somebody at work. No, good. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. So, yeah, Sagittarius. If Sagittarius is your second house lord, this is for Scorpio ascendants. And again, it's the advancement. They're telling Scorpio ascendant, learn something. Get out. Quit being mad and insecure or secretive. Get out and see the world. People need to see you. Again, Jupiter is your second house lord. What you know, Scorpio, your family is pushing you to share that knowledge. because you argue with them a lot. Anybody with Sagittarius as their second house lord knows what I'm talking about. You're going to come across a lot of people in your family that went to college, that has a lot to share with you, and that gets on your nerves. I remember this scene from Dead Presidents. The character played by Lorenz Tate's big brother, Isaiah Washington.
Yeah.
His brother was so smug on that table. He says, yeah, you become successful like me. Now, Lorenz Tate's character, I know he's a Scorpio ascendant because his brother acts so much like a Sagittarius family member, like me.
Well, he played that part, didn't he?
Yes, he did. That's what I'm talking about, Scorpio ascendants. You can't stand your family because they've seen the world, they're well-traveled, and well-read. They know every freaking thing. So wherever your Jupiter is, you prove to them that you know a lot more than you think because you did deep research. All that time you spent alone, you read a lot, you ponder a lot, you left alone. You had that powerful instinct in you. Capricorn has your second house. This is ruled by Saturn. Sagittarius ascendants, yeah, you've been all across the world because there's a lot of old people in your family that has a lot of experience and success to talk to you about. So when a Sagittarian speaks, they have wisdom in their voice, or they like to talk slowly because everybody is slow to a Sagittarius. I said, let me speak in layman's terms, because layman is ruled by Saturn. Sagittarius ascendants, I feel you. Y'all so sharp and bright, want to debate, but y'all got to slow it down. You come from a family of successful people. That's why Capricorn is there. Everybody got it from the mud, or hard-working people. So it also means the type of food you eat. It's an earth sign. Sagittarians like to eat name brand meals because it's Capricorn. Sagittarians, they don't just eat anything. They like to talk about what they eat.
Interesting.
And the health ramifications. And Sagittarius, did you know you need a strong iron-based diet? The reason why, because Saturn rules iron. Sagittarius, you got to have a lot of iron in your diet because you speak a lot. You move around a lot. You need that in your bloodstream.
Now, that's very interesting that you said that because, everybody's on these different diets
Uh-huh.
and everything. But if you just based off your birth chart and look at your second house, it'll explain what you need to eat, right?
Yeah, actually, your second house, your sixth house, and your 10th, because that is the Artha trine.
Okay.
The Artha trine. Those are the signs to where you have to sustain on Earth. Because the Artha trine village is naturally the earth signs. This is what you got to do to prepare on Earth, because the second house is the type of money you make, the food you eat. Sixth house is your health system, how you need to take care of yourself and how you need to defend yourself from enemies. And the 10th house is your public image. What is going to be your status in the world, your career, your purpose on this earth.
Oh.
So yeah, if you have Saturn there, you have to have a high iron-based diet. Now, if Aquarius, still ruled by Saturn, is your second house lord for a Capricorn ascendant, you're in a family full of people that knows what success like. Or your father and your mother, they all got big brothers and big sisters. Let's just say we go over to your house, you Capricorn ascendant, and your father's there. Say your father's very successful, right? Your father is going to have a big sister or a big brother that's not more successful. And remember, you're a Capricorn ascendant. You have no choice because Capricorns were put here to get it from the mud and rise to the top. Because everybody bred you to be that way. So everybody in your house is going to talk about what you're going to fulfill. Your big brother did this before you. Your great uncle did that before you. Your great grandmother set the tone to pass this down to you. And again, a good strong iron-based diet for you because Saturn rules iron. Now, if Pisces is your second house lord, this is for Aquarius ascendants. We mainly cover this. There's a lot of people in your family that are lazy, lackadaisical, abandoning traditional family values to do their own thing. A lot of Aquarius ascendants are the way they are because they didn't grow up in traditional households. You probably grew up in a home of a single parent, adoption. Yeah. probably raised by people that aren't from your intended culture, or you've probably been over to a lot of other families' homes. Because an Aquarius ascendant is a humanitarian, networking. So your family is making you feel as if I got more things to do, because the second house is always the advancement of the house it is preceding. All right. Your second house lord is Jupiter. Again, Aquarians has a very profound professorial blend to them when they speak. Now, Jupiter rules fats. Aquarius ascendants is an Aries sign. You're full of vata. So you're going to need a lot of fats in your diet. When I see an Aquarius ascendant that's overweight, their Jupiter has been tampered with. All right. And it's going to be difficult for you to lose weight if you're an Aquarius ascendant, because Aquarius are naturally tall and airy. But when you lose that weight, you're going to see that natural tall and airy frame, man or woman. All right. So, babe, I believe we covered everything. Yeah. We covered each sign and its lords.
Interesting. What about the placements? Because I know some they're probably thinking, well, I got
the placement of the second lord.
Well, they just placement in the second house. They're like, well, I got let's say I got Mars there. How would it affect the second house?
Okay, if you have Mars in the second house, you're going to curse like a sailor. You're going to fight with family members. All right? You're definitely going to fight with family members because Mars is about battle. And what you have to know, whatever house Mars is in, somebody got a marital problem. Wherever Mars is, because remember, Mars creates Kujadosh or Mangal, Mangala dosh. So there's somebody in your family that had a divorce or is always complaining about their spouse. That's what happens if you have Mars here. Good question, Ray. Thank you.
Now we have Adrienne from YouTube. She says that she has Sagittarius in the second house, and she's a Libra ascendant. And we were just talking about that. We have Sagittarius in the second house.
Okay, Adrienne, very good question. If you're a Sagittarius, if you're a Libra ascendant and you have Sagittarius in your second house.
Now this is Vedic astrology.
Yeah. If you're a Libra ascendant and you have Sagittarius in your second house, we all know Sagittarius is third from Libra. She has to consider the Baba Chalit system. Okay. Or you have to look at the fact that not all signs are equal in 30 degrees.
True.
For example, Virgo is so big, it can engulf Cancer and Leo. That's how big Virgo is by itself. So, Adrienne, you said Sagittarius is in your second house, but not all signs are the same size. And you also have to look at your Baba Chalit. Because if you look at the Baba Chalit, there will be rulerships to where it skips a sign. For example, Mars can rule your second and third house based on the size of Scorpio or based on the size of Aries. That's how that works, Adrienne.
Does she have any plans?
I don't know. She just says Sagittarius is my second house, yet I am a Libra ascendant.
Okay.
So that means Mars would possibly be her second house lord or Jupiter based on the Baba Chalit. So, Adrienne, here's my question for you. Do you have more of an aggressive, confrontational tone, or do you have more of a egotistical, overbearing tone? I just described either Mars or Jupiter as your second house lord. Because if Sagittarius is your second house lord, you're going to speak to people as if you're debating them or you're giving them a teaching lesson, juxtaposed to Mars, to where you're arguing to the point she admitted you're aggressive. So Mars is her second house lord.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense, Adrienne? Thank you. That's a good question.
Here. Thank you, Adrian, for participating.
Mhm. That's what it means.
Mm-hmm.
And the source of what you're speaking of, or the source of your family, yep, very direct.
Mm-hmm.
Mars is not shy. A retrograde Mars isn't shy. It's just more inward. If you have a retrograde Mars, you're more introverted and passive aggressive. Right? If you have a direct Mars, self-explanatory. It's a no-brainer.
Right. That even explains. Is it the same if you have Mars in that house?
In the second house?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you have Mars in the second house, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, if you have Mars in any house, somebody you know got relationship problems.
That's right. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
And you know, as I aforementioned in the program, hey Joshua, thanks for joining us. It's all good over here. Second house represents the mind of your mother-in-law.
Okay, cool.
The mind of your mother-in-law. Let's just say you have the moon in your second house. What does this tell me about my mother-in-law? You could talk to her about your feelings. She'll understand. Well, let's just say, well, my second house is Scorpio. That moon is debilitated. Well, she's alone. She's alone. She needs somebody to talk to, and she'll go through the trenches with you. That's all it means.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, babe, let's talk about that. Planets in the second house.
All right.
We'll start with the sun. If you got sun in the second house, you're going to speak with power and authority. It's that simple. You're going to speak with power and authority. And Joshua, I just mentioned if you got moon in the second house. Now, if you have moon in the second house, you're going to speak with your feelings. And if it's in Sagittarius, you're going to really be thought-provoking because that moon is in Sagittarius.
Mm-hmm.
They piss people off. It's the final fire sign. They get to the root cause of things. They will beat you before they speak because of Purvashara.
Okay.
And they're going to leave you crying at the end because it's Uttarashara.
He has a mission in this life.
Yeah. If you have Mercury in your second house.
Did you talk about sun?
Yeah, that was the first one.
Oh,
remember?
Sorry.
If you have Mercury in the second house, you're able to talk about two things at once and not skip a beat. And not skip a beat at all. And your cadence is very articulate. And you're very clever. You have to really catch what they're saying because they can be very encryptic in what they say if you have Mercury in the second house. It also means your teeth, you got small teeth with Mercury in the second house because Mercury is a neutral planet.
Okay.
All right. You have Venus in the second house. You're going to always get compliments about your teeth. Always. Because Venus is about beauty. You're going to get compliments on your tongue, your voice.
Yeah.
Now, if Venus has some issues, there may be problems with gums, your breath, your face, or your eyes, because Venus is naturally a Karaka to the second house because naturally rules Taurus, the second sign. So there's always going to be some aesthetic about you involving Venus in the second house. We already mentioned Mars in the second house with Adrian from earlier. If you have Jupiter in the second house, you're going to have big family members. There's somebody big in your family. Again, incorporate fats in your diet. When you speak, it's something you've learned over time that you never forgot, and you're going to want to share it. And you're going to always be speaking to somebody that never heard that before, which automatically is going to make you a teacher because Jupiter knows who to speak to that haven't learned that knowledge yet. All right. So also consider there's a lot of big brothers and big sisters in your family because that's what Jupiter represents. If Saturn's in your second house, we already talked about you need iron in your diet. There's a lot of elderly influence in your family. You may have a slow speech. You got an old soul when you talk. And you make money in the underground industry, something that's buried.
Mm.
And there's a lot of people in your family that comes from the hard knocks, hard work. And you may find yourself being very sweaty in the face because Saturn will sweat. Another thing about Saturn in the second house, people think you don't wash your face enough. And you probably don't because you're always busy working or you move slow. You think that doesn't matter. So definitely keep your face washed.
Don't talk about people's business like that. They probably don't want everybody to know that.
Yeah. So now let's go to the nodes, which are known as Rahu and Ketu.
Rahu's North Node.
Yeah. So Josh is laughing at that one.
Yeah,
but
business.
Yeah. So let's just say in the 2-8 axis, you have Rahu and Ketu. That this is heavy karmic energy. If you got Rahu in the second house, you probably came into a family that you never had in any past life. I'm a foundational Black American. My wife is a foundational Black American. If you have Rahu in the second house, this is my first incarnation as a foundational Black American because I want to experience something different. In my many lifetimes, I was probably from the Nordic region, which if you have Rahu in the second house, and also consider the sign it's in. If you have Rahu in the second house, there's probably, you're the only one in your family with a different set of eyes. You're probably born with hazel eyes where everybody else are brown. Or you probably have albino skin or vitiligo where everybody else is normal. Rahu does these things. It also means this is the first family I incarnated into that has traditional values. Because remember, Rahu is where you should be. Ketu is where you should not. All right? So if you have Rahu in your second house, you can also means that you smoke because Rahu's mood rules smoke. So if there's any connection there, Rahu will probably bring those elements. And there's a lot of people in your family that's going to give you troubles because you're not used to this family. You're not used to these values or these possessions, the way you make money. I never thought I would make money like this because second house is how you make money. Again, back to that mind of the mother-in-law. I wouldn't talk to her. I would not. All right? Because Rahu being the mindset of the mother-in-law is out of this world. She's going to tell you things that you never thought you would hear, and she does not want you in that family because you're brand new to this. This is Rahu in the second house. If you put Ketu here, Ketu is the headless dragon. It's the severing of the mind. It's the blind spot. It's the area of your life that you've already experienced that you don't need to focus on anymore. So if you put Ketu here, I've been in this family before, many lifetimes. I've had the same role. There's something about me that's uncanny to my family. Like the movie Matilda. Matilda would have Ketu in her second house. Matilda would definitely have Ketu in her second house. Now, a lot of people in my audience were born when this movie came out. So bear with me, all right? Matilda was born with clairvoyant telekinetic abilities, but her family was hood and trifling. Hey, it just didn't value her at all. But she's not supposed to be comfortable with them. She got to follow her Rahu, which is in the 8th house, other people's family, troubles, scarcity, scandals, surgeries, all those things. You can't get comfortable in your own value set. If you make money with Ketu there, you're going to get used to making money, but you're going to lose it because you're going to have to give it away. And those family members you have, they're going to take it from you because you don't need it. So if you have Ketu in the second house, don't get comfortable with yourself. What that means, there's something about you to where I feel like a black sheep or I feel like the golden child. I have to go away because this family cannot feed me anymore. Does that make sense, babe? So again, we covered all of the planets that can be there. Now let's talk about what does it mean to have extended family members to
We
Yeah.
have 9 minutes to allow people to have questions.
yeah, we saw a few people in. There's only one watching, so if you have any questions, come on in. I'm just going to keep talking because I have a lot to share. So with extended family members and immediate family members, second house tells you all about it. So what does it tell you about your extended family members? It's how you were raised, because it's before the sunrise. This is the family that you was going to partake and go into. One thing you will know about as it pertains to your immediate family, this is the family you created in part to your extended family. So if you have any planets there, those have to be examined. If you don't have any planets there, check and see what's aspecting or where your Lord is or your Navamsa placement of your second house Lord. All right. What else can we include about the second house?
A lot. We have several planets or
Mhm.
2 planets. Like,
It's a Maraka place. It's a Maraka house. It's a killer house. And the Marrakesh is the ruler of the Maraka. The reason why, because if you count 8 places from the 7th house, it's the second house. Because the 7th house is also a Maraka house. And if you think about it, what's 8th from the 8th house of death? The 3rd house. And you have to count what's 12th from the 3rd house, the loss of death, which is the second house. That's why it's the Maraka. So wherever your second house Lord is placed, that is your source of things that make you want to die. Not a literal death, but things that needs to die in your life. Yes, that transformative energy.
Interesting.
Yes, so it's not just talking about the second house. It means so many things.
Like your face.
Yeah, like your face, your teeth. Second house is also the right eye. It's the right eye. I study Vedic facial readings. Ever notice why one eye is different from the other? They call it lazy eye. Because there's possibly a planet that's weaker than another planet that rules your second house, aspecting, or in the second house. Because on males, the sun rules the right eye and the moon rules the left, which is the 12th house. But on females, the moon rules the right eye and the sun rules her left. So if you're looking at your eyes, pay attention to which eye is different than the other. That's the difference and the influence of your sun and moon. As that relates to the second house, because the second house is the right eye.
Interesting.
And family, if you're looking at the Navamsa chart, the D9 chart, there's not a house system in the harmonic charts. It's only Rashi based, all right? I know a lot of people say, when I look at my Navamsa chart, the second house Lord from my main chart is in the 9th house of my Navamsa chart. No, those planets are fixed. They never move. That's why they have the Pada systems. So if you're looking at your second Lord in the Navamsa chart, that second Lord never moved. Those are just a fructification of it. Did you know that? Yeah. So in my chart, my second house Lord Venus is in the 9th house Taurus. But in the Navamsa chart family, it's exalted in Pisces. And I have a Taurus Navamsa Lagna. So does that mean that my Venus moved to the 11th house in the Navamsa chart? As Kamala Harris would say, no. It remains in the 9th house of my ascendant, but it's in the 4th pada, meaning the fructification of my Venus in Taurus, 9th house of my ascendant chart, fructified into an exaltation. That's what it means. So if you're examining your second house from the Nabomsa, remember, there's no house systems. It's just a fructification. And it never moved. All right? Yeah, so we got about 4 minutes left in the program. If there's no other questions, you can reach Gigi and I offline. We're always available. And we got a few minutes. Oh, hey, that Adrian, she got it. She says, I'm so enjoying your live. Much gratitude for all of this information. What are the best websites to look up my chart to better follow along?
Great question.
There are plenty of charts, Adrian. Again, I don't know if you're a Western follower or a Vedic follower. Here at the Cosmic Answer LLC, we follow Jyotish, the Vedic format. I would recommend, let's see, what's a good one? What's the one?
I'm gonna have to find it on here.
Yeah, there's plenty of them, Adrian.
Yeah, there's plenty. Just look for one and then make sure that they have the Vedic format. Go into settings. I saved it here. Let me check.
Yeah.
We have an app that we use.
She does follow Vedic.
Okay.
You're on the right track already, Adrian.
Yes, you are. I'm trying to see if I saved it. I should have.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I didn't. Let's see. No, I didn't. I thought I saved it, but if she just search, I forgot what it was called. Yes, Vedic. But if you find, well, pretty much if you just, there's so many birth charts out there, but just go to the settings and make sure that you switch it to sidereal. That's what they'll have.
Yeah, you switch it to sidereal, remove Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Chiron, all of that. And there's if you were to Google up like Vedic websites, they're everywhere. They're everywhere, sister. So it'll definitely be easy to find. What's the name of it?
I know.
I haven't used a lot of Vedic websites in a long time because I've been doing it all by myself. But
it show me with that birth chart. Is that
no.
Just pretty much just find the one and then on the settings go find and make sure that they have sidereal, and that will be perfect.
Yeah, sidereal or Vedic.
I'll put sidereal Vedic setting.
Yeah, you could go to VedicHeritagePortal.gov. There's another one, PuranaVedas.com.
You said Vedic Heritage?
VedicCosmos.com. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there. What else do they have?
Well, there's plenty. That was a great question. I'm glad that she enjoyed.
You could definitely check out astroseek.com, Adrian. Astroseek.com. Astromitra.com. Seven Reflections is another good one. Sevenreflections.com is definitely grassroots for beginners.
You said several?
No, Seven Reflections.
Oh.
Yes, sevenreflections.com. That's a great source for you, Adrian. Yes, sevenreflections.com. Check those out. And it's all for free. They'll get it all for you. Well, family, we're at the top of the hour. It's 8 o'clock Eastern Standard, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Thank you all for joining in. I'm going to be back next Wednesday. We're going to be discussing the third house. So definitely stay tuned. And throughout the week, Gigi and I, we're going to be putting out wonderful Vedic information. We're going to make you cry. We're going to make you laugh. We're going to make you mad. Hopefully not. But that's what we're going to do because we're a village and we're family and we look out for each other.
That's right.
So everyone, until next time, enjoy your 4th of July. Be blessed. Watch out for the heat out there. And peace, love, and family.
Bye. Bye-bye.